Advice you didn't know you need. And now I've made mistakes that relate to every one of these that I'm going to go over. So I'm trying to learn from my own mistakes still. Hopefully you learn from my mistakes. Let's roll with it. All right, welcome back. Number one, we're getting right into it. Never stop marketing in your business or whatever you're doing. Never stop promoting yourself if that's what you're doing. If you're self-employed, running a small business, never stop marketing. Always wear your brand, letter your vehicles. I know sometimes people don't like doing that because, you want to keep a low profile, whatever, but they pay for themselves. Like if you have a trailer or a van, it's a rolling billboard. Label your stuff, market yourself. Always post your work. You need social proof. Most of my work comes from social media. They see, consistently, not every day, maybe not every week, but they can look back and see that, hey, we still complete work every once in a while, and we've got a whole longer list of things that we actually do. So never stop marketing. It is absolutely imperative that you have social proof. Number two is have a plan. Always have a plan for everything. That's a saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. You should have a plan for everything. When you're getting up, I have a notebook that I write down everything in. That's another video about bookkeeping and everything like that. But you need to be able to have a plan, know what you're going to do, have a schedule. I use Google Calendars. You can use, whatever you use, make sure you have a plan for that day, be organized. So if you're going, say, just for an example, if you're going to the, Home Depot, Lowe's, or your hardware store, make it your only trip to that store for that entire day, or even hopefully that in a couple days. Look at what you need to buy for a couple days ahead of time. Buy it all at once. It just saves you time. It saves everybody time. You don't need to go back to the jobs, you don't back to the store to grab something. It eats away at your workday. Having inventory and obviously planning the job site correctly, it's just going to help out everybody. It makes you look more professional, and at the end, it's going to make you more money because you're getting the job done more efficiently and you're saving yourself time. Your time is not a renewable resource. Just keep that in mind. So make sure you have a plan. Three, two, three, two, one. All right, another mistake that I made, but always. Number three is estimate jobs and bid projects on worst case scenario. Like, don't be like, oh, we only need this amount for this. It should only take us, at most a couple of days, blah, blah, blah. Worst case scenario. So what happens if you hit something, you can't get on the, something happens. Like worst case scenario, always leave a buffer for yourself and put that in your price. I know you want to be, you want to keep your prices a little bit lower on the side just to make sure you win the job. But what, in my experience, nothing ever goes to plan, and there's always something extra. You're always on the job site for a little longer than usual, starting out, or even when you're actually, relatively new business. But once you actually have jobs down pretty good, you kind of know exactly what you're going to get yourself into. It never goes as planned. You're always going to be spending more time. That customer's going to want to talk to you for just a little bit longer. Those flights of stairs, that bathroom wasn't on the first floor, it was on the second floor. Keep in mind, worst case scenario, make sure you just cover it in your estimate and your pricing. That way, something happens, you're like, hey, we're covered. We've already billed for basically put this in our estimate and a lot of money for this problem. Let's just keep working and keep the job going. And that's why you never give exact times for things. You never give exact dates for ending a job site or going to an estimate. You never give exact times. It's always a time window. Hey, this project should, it should be between 5 to 7 business days. It could go a little longer, but if you get done in 4, so be it. Great, awesome. Again, bid your projects and estimates on worst case scenario. And you knew what was coming on, you guys. What's going to help you with a couple of these things is having a great CRM. Jobber is a sponsor of this video. I use Jobber. They are fantastic. I've used a couple CRMs in the past. Highly recommend you guys have some sort of customer relation with some sort of software that actually makes you look just like Jobber does, makes me look a lot more professional than I am. Because, look at me, come on. But anyways, if you want to be able to, write estimates right on the spot, you can look and see exactly when customers see and look at invoices. Right when they pay an invoice, you get an alert and an email. There's a lot of things that goes with a great CRM like Jobber. You can do marketing with them. If you actually, have a job that's approved and the customer approves it, it goes into a area where they can actually see, and you can put in schedules of when people are going to actually be there, and so they can see exactly when you have one of your employees or one of your subcontractors going to that site to actually perform the work or at least start the work. So it leaves less calls, less headaches to you as a business owner. it's so much nicer. And yes, you can obviously, the customers can pay via credit card through Jobber, and it's the usual fees, of course. But if you're like me, you don't care. It's just super convenient. You can just send an invoice. You know exactly when it's going to get paid, or at least when it is paid. You might have to send a couple reminders depending on the customer, right? But again, Jobber running a cool special. I'll leave the link in the description. You guys, they have a great free trial going on, and it's great just to check out. If it doesn't work out for you, no problem, no harm, no foul, but I'm pretty sure it will. So link in the description, you guys. Appreciate Jobber for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into the rest of it. Number 4 is document everything. Pictures. In my contract, I have like a small media release, but you should probably have a separate media release on your own with, being able to take pictures of other people's property and stuff like that, depending on the state you're in. That's a different video, but being able to document everything. When you first get on the site, just if you're going on site estimate, if it's free or whatever it is, go take pictures of everything so you can see before, like when you were there and you didn't do any work whatsoever, you can see the exact state of everything. That way you're protecting yourself from the customer, because they're out there. There's a lot of people out there who want to blame everybody but themselves. And a lot of times sometimes it's my fault. I make mistakes too, but there's a lot of times where it's not my fault. And I can be like, hey, this is where it was looking like beforehand. This is what it looked like after, and it doesn't look like that now. So what happened since we left to now, when you're wanting like say a warranty claim, a damage claim, something like that. Cover your butt, CYA, absolutely take pictures, document everything through the entire process of the job. Every day, have your employees, there's apps on there as well that they can upload pictures right away. It timestamps them. You can send out tasks. There's plenty of things to do. And of course you can do that with, CRMs too, that we just listed. Document everything. It's just going to say, there's so many times where a customer had a question and then I pulled up the picture, like, no, this is what it looked like before. So what it looks like now. So it literally saved my butt. Plus, your customers are cool until they're not. If anytime money changes hands between you and your client, make sure it's in writing, whether that's a text message, email, and of course a change order. Even if there is no money changing hands, if a customer makes a decision about something that's important, document it, have them sign off on it so they know going back down the road that if they change their mind or they forget, because it happens, they either change their mind or they forget and they want to hold you accountable, you can be like, no, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, this is what we discussed, this is what we did, let's move on with the project. Number 5, never adjust your prices with the same scope of work. If you give a price for something and it's a legit price, you've already did the work, you know exactly what you need to make, and you give that to a customer and they say it's too high, do not adjust your prices for the same scope of work. That's the price. It looks pretty sleazy, and I've seen it before where, window guys and people, those door-to-door salesmen, like, hey, here's the price for this, and you're like, oh, no, it's too expensive, and then they'll cut it by like 30%, something crazy. Like, then what was that original price? You're just trying to get over on me? Was it a ripoff? It makes you look a little sleazy and also kind of non-professional when you give a customer a price, and then all of a sudden you can do it for a lot less or a little bit less for the exact same scope of work. Don't do that. If a customer doesn't like your price, that's the price. That's your rate. Move on to the next one. I don't know what to tell you. What I do say is like, okay, if that's too much for you, that's over your budget, would you like to go with a different material that costs less in labor and material prices? Do you want to, instead of doing this entire area, do you want to just do a small area, adjust the scope of work, therefore lowering the price, and go from there? Offer that to the customer. That's basically the only thing I do. Somebody doesn't like my price, cool, and that's not my problem. It's not your job to fit your price within the scope of work and the budget the customer has in mind. That's not your job. Your job is to find out the budget for the scope of work the customer wants done. Don't lower your price for the same scope of work. That's pretty much no discounts unless there is warranted. That's what I got for you guys. That's some advice you didn't know you needed, but you might need. Mistakes were made on my behalf many years before, and including this year. There's some things that I've done. It is what it is. I'm always making mistakes, but I'm trying to learn from them. Let me know in the comment section below if you made these mistakes. You guys like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.